Hi, good day everyone. So now we're going to discuss our topic, elapsed flying time. So what's the importance of this lesson? Bakit ba mahalaga at kailangan natin dapat siya matutunan? Unang-una sa lahat, itong lesson na to is very important because dito nasasagot natin ang mahalagang tanong ng ating kliyente or mga travelers natin na gaano ba katagal ang flight nila or how long is the duration of their flight. So basic naman yung question na yun, no? And every one of us as a travel professional or tourism student is expected to have a working knowledge on how to answer this. Now, right now, hindi naman siya masyadong problema kasi we do have some technologies like our mobile apps. I-Google mo lang, malalaman mo na kung gaano katagal yung flight mo. Or it's already embedded in the system that we use sa ating day-to-day transactions sa ating mga kliyente. We have Abacus, Amadeus, and Sabre which already have the inbuilt capacity to calculate the elapsed flying time of every flight. So hindi naman siya ganun kahirap gawin na. Ngayon, ang kailangan natin malaman is to have a working knowledge. Kasi, minsan kasi, di ba sa airport, walang signal. May mga dead area doon or dead spots. Or pag nagbo-boarding kayo, FA ka, cabin crew, so minsan natatanong sa'yo ng kliyente yan. And of course, syempre, pag boarding pa lang kayo, out of nowhere, syempre wala pang wifi na naka-ready, no? So, syempre, ikaw bilang FA or travel agent or airport staff, ground steward, so importante masagot natin yan. Kasi pag hindi natin siya nasagot, ano ba ang sagot mo, after 1 hour, di ba? Parang yung kliyente mo, mag-iisip na sa'yo, ano ba to? Simpleng tanong lang, hindi niya masagot. Uma-attend kaya ng seminar to, or baka mamaya napapanggap lang to, or baka mamaya isipin din nila part-timer ka lang, or hindi mo alam talaga yung total yung ginagawa mo. Especially true if travel agent ka. Kasi baka mamaya it will sow the seed of doubts to your customer na hindi ka talaga professional. So napaka-importante masagot natin itong tanong na to. Okay. So mabibigyan ko kayo ng isang example. Kunwari ako yung pasahero, no? Ako yung traveler natin. Kayo yung travel agent. Halimbawa, ako yung pasahero, magtatanong ako sa inyo. Let's say, kukuha ko ng ticket na New York to Paris round trip. So, ang aking lipad is ito, naka-state naman siya sa baba. So, umalis daw ako ng New York at 18:45, darating ako ng Paris na 800s, no? Plus 1. So, it means to say that would be the next day. So, napansin natin, military time ang ginagamit natin. That is especially true for tourism industry, no? So, military time lang po ang ginagamit natin. This is to avoid confusion of using the common time. Let's say, 8 o'clock, AM, PM. So, kapag nagmamadali ka, maaari mong ma-mistake yung PM as AM. And of course, that will cause inconvenience to your guests and inconvenience to you. Kasi nga, uulit na naman yung trabaho mo. Eh what if kung di rin nag-check ng passenger yun, hindi mali yung araw o mali yung oras ng kanilang pag-appear sa airport check-in. So of course, syempre, kung napaaga sila, inconvenient yun. Pag na-delay, kasalanan mo. So may problema tayo doon. So yun yun. So ngayon, pansinin natin itong yellow, no? So tingnan nyo. Alis daw ako ng Paris ng 10:20, darating ako ng 13:01 sa New York. So parang ilang oras ba ako nagbabiyahe talaga? So pag chinik ko siya, let's compute, no? Pag chinik ko siya, parang ano lang ako nagbabiyahe, no? Parang 3 hours and 20 minutes lang. Kasi tignan mo, 10:20 and 13:01. So parang lumalabas dito na ano lang siya, na 3 hours lang and 20 minutes lang talaga ako nag-travel. Pero hindi gano'n, hindi talaga gano'n talaga yan. Bakit? Kasi kung babalikan mo yung ating prior example, 'di ba? 18:45, 8 o'clock ng umaga. So ba't gano'n? Parang mas matagal 'tong papunta ko kaysa yung pabalik ko. 'Di ba dapat almost the same sila kasi isa lang naman yung route ng dinaanan nito. Nagmadali ba yung kapitan ng pag-uwi? Yung kapitan ng pagpunta, mabagal siya magpaandar dahil matanda na siya. Ganun ba? Of course not. Okay. Ngayon, para ma-check mo siya kung ilan ba talaga yung oras na yan at na hindi ka nahihirapan, of course, the easiest way is of course to use your system. Sa system, makikita mo, ayan, ang time difference natin. So, our elapsed flying time or the duration of flight, kung gaano katagal lumilipad, is around 8 hours and 41 minutes. Okay, that's it. Now, if you compare, yung flight natin dati, kala mo mas mahaba, yung pala yung mas maikli kasi 7 hours and 15 minutes lang siya. See? So ngayon, paano nangyari yan? Diba? Saka syempre, ang tanong sa'yo ng kliyente ganito, okay, how long is my flight? That's sir, that's 8 hours and 41 minutes. Ha? Paano nangyari yun? I, I take my flight ng 10:20 tapos darating ako ng New York at 13:01. So paano nangyaring 8 hours lang yun? Di ba 3 hours and 40 minutes lang siya or 3 hours and 20 minutes? Siyempre, that's the time na i-explain mo na siya. Of course. Siyempre, kung hindi mo ma-explain yan, mahirapan ka. Parang hindi mo ginagawa yung homework mo or hindi mo alam yung trabaho mo. So, isa yun sa mga possible na tanong sa'yo na hindi rin makapaniwala yung pasahero kasi hindi naman nila trabaho, alam mo yun. So, ikaw, sad to say, syempre, trabaho mo, yung part ng course mo yung tourism management. So, dapat alam mo. Ngayon, pwede mo ba sabihin sa kliyente mo, "Eh, sir, yun po yung nakalagay sa system, eh, kasi yun po yung ano, eh, yun po yung gusto niyo ito, check niyo pa." Okay. Siyempre hindi magandang service impact nun, 'di ba? So, parang, "Ano 'to, eh, di sana robot na lang kausap ko, hindi na ako nagtanong sa'yo." Parang senseless. So, siyempre kailangan ipaliwanag din natin sa kliyente natin na of course, unang-una, kaya nagkakaganyan, meron pong time difference yung dalawang city frame niyo. So, mamaya alamin natin time difference niya. Okay. Sa slide natin. At higit sa lahat, yung mga timetables po, nakasulat po siya sa mga local time. Wala po siyang sinusunod na standard time. No? So lahat po yan local time. So what do you mean by local time? Katulad po natin estimated time of departure, kung ano po yung departure point niya, kung saan siya umalis, ganun po yung nakasulat sa kanyang timetable. Let's say 10:20, doon po umalis sa Paris. So 10:20 ng umaga sa Paris, yung oras. Ngayon kung aalis siya sa, let's say, New York ng 10:20, oras siya sa New York, di ba? Kung saan po depende yung kanyang departure point or departure city. Doon po magbabase yung kanyang local time. Of course, yun po yung time na magre-reflect sa timetable, sa ticket, sa schedule, saka each various systems natin sa travel. Okay. Next is, of course, yung kabilang side naman. So, yung local time naman po for arrival points, nakabase siya doon sa arrival cities. Let's say in this case, New York. So yung 13:01 na yan, that would be the local time in New York. Okay. So again, local time siya. Local time of the departure point and the local time of the arrival point. So yun po yung ating basis of time. At huwag po tayo malilito dyan. Dahil hindi naman po siya nakakalito dahil naka-military time na. So, it's about time na dapat alam din po natin ang military time kung hindi po natin alam. So, may panahon pa mag-aral. Okay, next. So, ngayon mapapansin din rin po na ito pong Paris is advanced ng 1 hour. O tinatawag natin GMT plus 1. At the same time, yung local time naman po sa New York would be GMT minus or less 4. So, bakit minus? Ibig sabihin kasi noon, they are delayed by 4 hours. Okay. Now, I prepare this visualization para hindi tayo mahirapan. Bago muna yan, punta muna tayo sa elapsed flying time. So, i-define muna natin elapsed flying time para klaro sa atin, no? Hindi tayo nahihilo. Elapsed flying time refers to the amount of time it actually takes from the departure to the arrival after taking into consideration the time zones. Okay, kasi itong time zones na to, it creates the illusion na maikli yung biyahe mo or mahaba ang biyahe mo. Okay. So ngayon, kailangan natin gawin to remove the illusion. Paano? So later tuturo ko sa inyo paano natin siya gagawin. Okay? So now I have created this recipe. So paano ba natin makukompute itong elapsed flying time? So kailangan mo yung dalawang knowledge. First is, you have to have a working knowledge about your time zones and international date line. Kung nakinig po kayo sa mga science teacher nyo during your high school days, wala tayong problema. Kung nakalimutan na, okay, meron tayong recap. Okay. Kung talagang hindi ka nakinig, syempre, please tayo. Ulit-ulitin mo itong video na to para matuto ka. Okay. Next, of course, may basic arithmetic. So, alam naman natin paano mag-add, mag-subtract, mag-divide, at mag-multiply. So, basic na yun. Hindi natin kailangan ng geography ng ano dito, ng natawag nilang algebra, calculus, okay, hindi natin kailangan. Next. Okay. Dahil nga importante yung time zone, so without surprise, every front office sa travel agency makikita mo, may mga orasan sila. No? So ano yung orasan na yan? Pampakit ba yan? Or papaganda lang? Okay, bukod sa aesthetics, value niya, nakakadagdag din siya for practical purposes. Let's say may tinatrack ang kliyente na bound for New York. at least aware ka physically na ang time sa New York ay ito. Kasi nga, naka, naka-New York time yung orasan mo. So basically, it's a good way of tracking your client. No? Kasi nung araw, wala namang computer pa. So basically, every time we rely on the manual rather than the... Ngayon, madali na kasi you have your cell phone, your PCs, no? As your basis. Now, what do you mean by time zones? Time zones po, it is yung imaginary line po natin, no? From north to south, which determines your time. Okay. Paano? So, madidetermine mo yung time using the relationship ng what we call the primary region, which is the imaginary line or the imaginary line na Greenwich Mean Time. Hindi po siya pizza, kundi isa po siyang observatory ng time. So, ito yung pinaka center of time sa buong mundo. So, lahat ng oras sa buong mundo nanggagaling sa Greenwich Mean Time. So, because of that, this is the reference point. It is now what we call zero, GMT zero time. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung pinaka-neutral. And if you go eastward from that point, magiging +1 ka or +1 day. Or if you arrive to another imaginary line, north to south, magiging +1 ka. And vice versa sa kabilang side, sa westward. So, ganun siya, no? Okay. So ngayon itong mga clock na ito, nakakatuwa siya. It really serves a purpose. Hindi lang ito siya decoration. Okay? Next. So we have to bear in mind also that there are some countries that are big or large, katulad ng Russia, United States, Brazil, and Australia. Okay, these are big countries, no? Of course, they will have a time difference. Okay? Kasi yung kanyang territory, it belongs to a certain time zones, no? Hindi lang, kasi normally, paano ba ma-determine yung time zones mo? Kung ano yung time zone sa capital, yun na siya. Example, Philippines. Kung ano time zones natin sa Manila, that would be the time zone or GMT +8 natin sa buong country. And of course, syempre, lahat naman tayo, saktong-sakto doon. Okay? Kung may hindi man sumakto, mag-a-adjust pa rin sa capital yan. Okay? That's how we do it. Now, for United States of America, they have, kasi malaki po yung kanyang territory at different states po yan. Okay. They have at least 6 time zones, geographically speaking. These are the following. But in practice, we don't memorize naman each specific time. No? Tatandaan na lang natin dito are those key important cities like New York, San Francisco, Hawaii, or what we call Honolulu. And of course, we have to remember yung ating Chicago. So these are important cities. No? So ito yung magiging marker natin. As these are the busiest airport then. So this will be our marker to track time and of course, advise our passenger later on. Okay? So ngayon, inversely naman to, ito medyo kabaliktaran. There are some countries like China. Okay? I think China yung pinaka-highlight dito kasi talagang, geographically speaking, China should belong to or should have at least 5 time zones. Okay? 5 time zones siya. Pero, the government opted to use one time. That is Beijing time. Bakit? If you ask me. Siguro ang thinking ng government is for them to be unified. Kasi China is not only composed by Chinese or Han Chinese, but also composed by other ethnic groups. So para magkaroon ng sense of unity, so they have used the Beijing time. So syempre kawawa kapag yung time mo medyo delay ka, aga mong gumigising. Kasi 'di ba, sa Beijing mas mauna sila magigising. Eh kung dulo ka ng China, 'di ba? So parang, 'di ba? It creates confusion for them. Ano bang time yung Beijing time or local time natin? So yun. Anyway, so it's unique in China, ha. So hindi porket tumama ka sa longitude na to or latitude na to, yun na yun. Hindi. Kasi meron tayong sinusunod din na legal exceptions diyan or legal consideration. Katulad ng China, they have only one time zones despite the fact na 5 geographically time zone talaga siya. Okay? So next, now, ito na, I draw a visualization para madali natin maintindihan. Okay. Paano gamitin yan? Okay. Ganito lang siya. Remember GMT? GMT is neutral, so it should be 0. So saan ba nakalagay ang GMT or ating primary dyan? So nakalugar po siya sa London, which is United Kingdom, Great Britain. Okay. So ngayon, London time is GMT time. The answer is yes. But of course, it's not true during daytime saving, yung kanilang daytime, no? Daytime saving. Or yung always check kung talagang magkapareha sila. So of course, syempre, for safety purposes, sa pag-iingat, i-search nyo lang yung GMT time. Kasi yun talaga siya. Kasi yung London time po or UK time, nag-a-adjust din po siya. Depende po sa ano, sa winter or sa spring or summer, sa seasons din. No? So if they have the daylight saving time, so of course, ma-adjust siya. Okay. So now going back to the logic, okay, I assume that London time is GMT time. Okay. So going back to the logic, so GMT time is neutral, 0. So what do you mean by the plus 4 plus 8? It represents how long or ilang hours ba advance ang itong mga cities na to kumpara kay London or kumpara kay GMT. Example would be Dubai. Dubai, ang code niya po sa IATA is DXP. So it's stated as DXP. Okay. So Dubai has 4 hours ahead of London time. Ahead or advance of 4 hours. So let's say the time in London is 12 noon. Tanghaling tapat, 12 noon. So what will be the time now in Dubai? So the time now in Dubai will be 4 hours in advance. So you just add 4 hours. So you add 1, 2, 3, 4. So that will be 4 p.m. Or count military time, 13, 14, 15, 16. That will be 1600s. Okay. So ganun yung logic niya, no? So ba't ganon? Okay. Again, Japan is the land of the rising sun. So Japan is located in Pacific, no? Asia Pacific region siya. So ngayon, any countries belonging or any points near to Japan is considered early riser siya. So sila yung unang tinatama ng araw. So ngayon, kung reference point mo is nasa London ka, of course, delay ka kumpara din sa Japan. So you just have to add para magkaroon ka ng common time. Let's say time sa London and time sa Japan, ano yung eksaktong oras nila. Okay. So you have to convert using this, what we call, if it's going to eastward, you add. Okay, add time. Okay, so that will be accounting using clockwise counting, no? Add ka ng time, clockwise counting. Now, to put that in the example, I prefer this illustration. So again, my GMT is 0, Paris is +1, that will be 1 hour advance. Moscow is 3 hours advance. Dubai is 4 hours in advance. Of course, Beijing is 8 hours advance. So now I have a problem. So anong oras na po anong oras na po kaya sa Moscow if the time in GMT or in London would be 1200s? So anong oras na sa Moscow? So the answer, it would be very simple and very direct, di ba? Katulad kanina sa example natin. Okay, so what's the relationship? So if you're going eastward, okay, going eastward, so going to Europe, Middle East, Asia, Pacific, so eastward yon. So what will be the time? Again, the logic will be you just add 3 hours because the time difference of GMT 0 plus 3 would be, of course, 3 hours in advance. Okay, add mo lang yung 3 hours na yan. So that would be 13, 14, 15. So count mo, 13, 14, 15. 1500s. Simple, no? Kayang-kaya. Now, let's go now with the westward kasi di ba kanina puro east tayo. So makikita nyo pula siya. Sa westward naman, that would be late. So, delay sila. Late. Okay. So, pag sinabi mo late, mas nauuna sumikat si London kumpara sa kanila. So, sa London, maaari nagbe-breakfast na sila. Sa New York, humihilik pa. Okay, tutulog pa sila. Because New York, NYC is 4 hours delay or 4 hours late in terms of London time. So if the London time would be 12 noon or tanghaling tapat, so what would be now the time in New York? So bilang tayo, no? So that would be counterclockwise naman, bilang natin. So bilang natin would be 11, 10, 9, 8. 11, 10, 9, 8. So New York time would be 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock or 800s. Okay, so let's put that into example. So I've been using this. So we have the GMT time, that's 0. Okay, 0 siya. And you have Athens, this +3, of course. New York is -4 or -4. And Los Angeles is -7. So ibig sabihin 7 hours delay from GMT time. So may problema ako. What will be the time now in New York if the time in London would be 800s? Okay. So anong oras na sa New York? So again, using my prior example, you just have to, okay, subtract or i-delay natin, or let's count counterclockwise. Let's count counterclockwise. So let's count 7, 6, 5, 4. So that will be 400s. Okay, tama, 400s, no? So ganun lang siya kadali. It's very easy as long as you know your geography, perfectly know mo siya. Ang pinaka-importanting point dito would be United Kingdom because it will determine yung westward sa eastward mo, no? So of course, you have to remember Harry Potter, United Kingdom, okay, that's the center of the time. And of course, syempre, pag papunta ka ng westward, saan ka ba papunta? You cross the Atlantic Ocean, America, okay, that's the westward or the western hemisphere yung tinatawag. Okay, so remember that. So kailangan mo rin talaga may alam ka sa geography, no? Para maintindihan mo siya. Okay, now let's have a more complicated example. Let's say I have a client in Athens that I need, gusto kong tawagan. So right now, I'm living in Los Angeles. Gusto ko siyang tawagan. Anong oras na kaya sa Athens? Madali naman yan, hindi naman magiging problema sa buhay natin. And then, yun nga, may cellphone tayo or mayroon tayong app. Pero, syempre, kung paano yung pag nawala itong technology na to, or let's say you were assigned to a certain area, provincial, wala ka access sa internet, diba? I mean, computer, I mean, yung very basic lang, telepono. Or let's say, wala yung spot napunta mo is dead spot. So, may tinatanong ang kliyente mo. So, paano mo sasagutin yan? So, these are a very practical way to do that. Okay? So, ngayon, examine mo muna yung relationship niya. What's the relationship? Eastward ba siya or westward? Of course, nakita niyo siya. It should be eastward. Kasi nakita niyo from west to east. Okay? From delay to advance time. Okay? Saka pula yung arrow ko, diba? Yan. Eastward yan. So ngayon, anong gagawin natin? Let's compare. Okay. So first, that will be the long cut, no? So first, I need to examine the relationship of the Los Angeles to GMT. So sabi natin, Los Angeles is negative or -7, that is delay 7 hours against the GMT time. So may 7 hours delay siya. What about Athens? The relationship of Athens to GMT is that the Athens has advanced 3 hours. Advanced po yung 3 hours niya. So meaning to say, kung gusto mong mahanap ng oras sa Athens, kailangan dagdagan mo yung oras sa GMT na 3 oras. Para equivalent time siya sa Athens. So using that same logic, it will arrive to a point that's 7 and 3. So what will we do? Okay. So mathematically, we can do that in a certain operation like this. So in 7 mo, since you're going eastward, what will happen to the sign? You drop the sign. You drop the minus sign. And you add the plus sign. Because you're going eastward, we need to add 7 hours. Okay. You need to add 7 hours from your local time to arrive to the GMT time. So, dadagdagan daw ng 7 hours to para maging oras sa GMT time. Okay. And also, the relationship is, GMT daw is late by 3 hours sa Athens. So, mathematically, you just add +7 plus 3. So, +7 plus 3, you change this sign into plus, and add the plus sign here, the 3. So 7 plus 3 equals 10 hours. So there is a 10 hours difference between this point, Los Angeles and Athens. So what will you do? Simply add them. Add mo lang siya. Okay. So add 10 hours from the 1200s. So if we add, let's count. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So again, that is 10 hours, 2200s. Okay? Klaro ba? Naintindihan? Okay. Pag di naintindihan, balik-balikan ng video. Next. This way naman, pabaliktad tayo, no? So we're going is a westward. So paano westward to? Okay. Okay, you're based in Manila. That is located in GMT plus 8. So 8 hours advanced siya from GMT time. Now, you have a client in Paris na gusto mong tawagan. So, anong oras kaya sa Paris, no? Kung oras sa Manila is 2100s. Anong oras na kaya? Sakto lang ba pag tumawag ako? So, these are your questions. Okay, so paano mo gagawin? So, examine the relationship, no? So, this is plus 8 and plus 1. So, what's the relationship? It's going westward. Okay, westward. Kung westward siya, you have to convert the plus sign into minus sign because you have to subtract or you have to delay Manila time by 8 hours to be able to get the GMT time. Okay. And of course, the GMT time in relation to Paris is plus 1. So, doon malalaman mo yan. So, lahat yan, nagre-refer muna kay GMT. Diba? Eh, sino ba mas malapit? Si GMT sa Manila or si Paris sa Manila? So, you have realized na mas malapit pala si Paris sa Manila kasi nga, diba? Plus 1 and plus 8. So, paano natin gagawin yan? Simple lang yan. So, pwede mo naman siya i-compute mo muna yung Manila time mo sa GMT, and then na-compute mo. And then add plus 1 para ma-compute mo yung Paris time. So, bumabalik ka pa ulit sa Paris. No? Or pwede mo na siya idiretso. Ang gagawin natin, idiretso na natin siya sa Paris para hindi na tayo bumabalik ulit. Okay? So, paano? So, what I did is I examined this. So, plus 8 and plus 1. So, what's the relationship? Since Manila, yung time mo dito sa Manila, papunta ka sa westward, the plus sign is now converted into minus sign. So, minus 8 siya. Kasi nga papunta ka sa west. Okay. Now, of course, this Paris remain constant as plus 1. Hindi mo siya aalis, hindi siya gumalaw. Okay. So, what will happen is 8 negative 8 plus positive 1 is equals to negative 7. So you have to subtract, you have to delay the hours into 7 hours to be able to get the Paris time. Ganun siya. Okay, so it's a shortcut. So bilang tayo ngayon. So 2100s less 7 hours equals to Paris time. So let's count. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, okay, 14. So that's hours, 7 hours. Okay, 14. 1400s. Okay, di ba? Dali lang. Okay. So now, that's what we call time zone and conversion of time. Now, hindi pa po yan elapsed flying time natin. Bakit? Kasi elapsed flying time, we have to remove the distortion of time. Okay, kasi yung mga time natin nakabase sa local time, no? So, of course, syempre, it create a distortion. So, balikan ulit natin yung example natin kanina. So, my time is, sabi natin, that will be 8 hours and 41 minutes. Now, for simplification purposes, i-drop off na natin yung mga minutes, no? Let's assume that this will be 10 o'clock AM, 1000s, and 1300s. Okay, let's compute there for that. Okay, using the illustration again. Okay, using the illustration again. So, I left Paris at 1000s, okay, and I arrived New York at 1300s, same day. So, how long is my journey or how long is my flight? Now, we have, for us to compute the elapsed flying time, we need to go the first step. Okay, what's the first step? Establish the common time. Kasi di ba, may time difference. We have negative 4 and plus 4. So it creates a distortion. So the first step is to remove that distortion and let's have a common time. So our common time here is, of course, the GMT. Wala tayong problema kung if both of them is, of course, syempre, same GMT time. Let's say, Beijing to Manila. Wala tayong problema doon kasi they are both GMT plus 8. But we have a problem here because there is a distortion of time. Okay, Paris is plus 1 and New York is negative 4. So, magulo. So ngayon, we have to arrive to a common time, which is the GMT kasi siya yung neutral. Okay. So what's the relationship? And then, of course, step 2. Convert their common time into GMT time. So what's the common time? Okay. So the common time in London or GMT time is 1900s, di ba? So kung sa Paris daw is 1000s, sa London would be 1900s. Ay, sorry, 900s. Okay. Again, para malinaw, sa London daw, it's 900s. 900 siya. Kasi sa Paris, that will be 1000s. Kasi nga GMT plus 1 eh. So, mas ahead ng Paris ng isang oras. So, tama to. Now, what about yung ating 1300s? No? 1300s, what's the time now in London or GMT? Now, since New York is less 4 or minus 4, it's delayed by 4 hours. So, the time now in London would be 1700. So, compute nga natin. So, delay daw siya eh. So, delay daw, no? So, ano gagawin natin? Siyempre, kung delay siya, inahanap mo advance, magdadagdag ka ngayon ng 4 hours. Okay. 4 hours yung dadagdag ko. So, dagdag tayo, no? 14, 15, 16, 17. Kaya 1700 siya. Dito naman, kaya umappear yung 900s na yan kasi nga, westward naman yung journey mo. So, kung westward siya, magbabawas ka ngayon ng isang oras kasi plus 1. So, yung plus 1 mo, magiging minus 1 yan. So, that will be the equivalent of 9 hours or 900 hours. Okay? So, that's the conversion in their common time. So, ang common time natin again is the GMT. Okay. Going back. Okay. Examine the relationship of this time. So, umalis ka doon ng sa London or equivalent time niya would be 900s at dumating ka sa New York na 1700s. So, establish the relationship. Okay. Bilang tayo ngayon. So, bilang tayo ngayon 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 500 or 5 p.m. daw. For military time, bilang tayo, would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 1700s. So, sakto. Okay. So, 1700s. So, ibig sabihin, it's 8 hours. Okay, 8 hours of difference. Yan. Okay. So, ngayon, balikan muna natin. So, ano yung 8 hours na yun? So, 8 hours yung elapsed flying time. Elapsed flying time niya, 8 hours yung lumilipad from this itinerary. Okay. So, na-challenge ko ba kayo sa paggamit ng elapsed flying time? Madali lang, di ba? Okay. So, napakadali niya lang. So, ngayon, para mas exercise kayo at ma-challenge tayo kayo ng gusto, meron ulit tayong computein. Ito naman, computein niyo po siya at pakilagay po yung sagot natin sa ating comment box. Okay? So, yun, abangan ko po yan para malaman natin kung talagang intindihan nyo. Okay? So, kung may katanungan po kayo, huwag mahiya again, mag-comment at mag-suggest. Kung gusto niyo yung video, pakisubscribe. At of course, syempre, i-like nyo kung talagang naintindihan yung explanation. Kung hindi naman, thumbs down lang or mag-comment ka doon. Okay? Maraming salamat. So, hanggang sa muli.